Back Tuba Views. If you recall, about 3 days ago, I had a student here by the name of Steve. Now, Steve worked on a boat. We didn't have very much sunshine, so I thought I'd show this to you, and him, if he's watching. Go ahead and enjoy this. He also did this section here, and if I can get the camera to turn up enough, maybe, just maybe, I can show you what the sun's reflection looks like. Well, it's a little high in the sky, but you can see it looks really nice. So let's get back down to what we're looking at here. Instead of putting a typical polish on here, a wax, Meguiar's Flagship Pro Polish by Surehold, or 3M's Liquid Wax with Scotchgard, I'm going to do something a little bit different today. One half of this I'm going to coat with Fire Glaze Plus, and the other half is a product by a company called Avalon King. Now, this is a ceramic coating. You can buy this for, I think, $65, $70. And what they give you is a box, which I'm sure you're familiar with. You've seen boxes. It's a nice little box. I'm going to do a little, I guess, unboxing and show you how to apply this. Their stance is that any monkey with a boat can put this on their boat and get about 2 years of protection. They do, however, admit that older gel coat doesn't necessarily adhere to the plan quite as well as younger, newer gel coat. So they know that I'm a little bit critical of products, and they're aware that I test stuff thoroughly. So they've asked me to do a couple demonstrations. This is going to be my first demonstration of Avalon King's ceramic coating, and I want to test it alongside the Fire Glaze. So I'll draw a line right about down the middle. One side will be Fire Glaze, one side will be a ceramic coating. And we'll do the same thing down here so that you can watch it with me for the next 6-8 months to a year, possibly 2. We'll see how this goes. But this will be a great way for you to see both products at the same time. And maybe down the road, if you're curious, all of these sections got hit with Flagship by Meguiar's, and they're still looking good. And this is well over a year. And if you're looking at that strip in the center, that's just because we missed it, so that we could have something dramatic to show you. And while yes, you're seeing some streaks up here, the trick is with a boat, if you can wipe them off, whoop, then you don't have to wax your boat. If you can't wipe them off, then it's time to wax your boat. As an example, on the back of this boat, there's a couple spots that I did not apply wax to, and you'll see that, well, actually that did kind of wipe off. But there, these aren't wiping off at all. So this is probably 6 to 8 months. And you can see without any protection at all, oxidation came right back. Meanwhile, this side has a little protection. Doesn't get washed very much, but stuff still wipes off of it. So this is the benefits of waxing your boat, folks. But in the world of wax, there are some different contenders. You can either use straight Carnauba wax, you can use the new polymers, and now you can use a ceramic. So let me put this camera down, set it on a tripod. I'll get into this. Give me 1 second. Okay, welcome back. So, opening up the box, nothing special. It's another box. What's inside here? We got a little happy to be a supplier for you card. I have another happy to be with you card by, looks like Danny and Dave, co-founders. I'll set that aside. It's nice, but I don't need it. Here's what I need. The Armor Shield 9. This is a cute little bottle. Chrome paint, I like it. Let's see, a little filler piece. Set that aside. Now here's where they've done something kind of nice, and I'll get out of the sun so you can see it. So first thing I'd like to point out, the microfiber towel that they include with the kit doesn't have any borders. There's no edge on here. It's just all microfiber, and they've cut it. So it's nice and soft all the way out to the edges. Excellent touch, guys. They've also included the set of gloves because they know that most of us are lazy and we think that we can do everything on our own, and we don't use gloves. It's a huge mistake when you're putting a ceramic coating on a car. They also add some extra little microfiber, actually micro thread towels for the applicator. And the applicator itself is kind of nice. It has these little slits in the side, so you can jam that towel around this applicator and it won't slip out. That's actually really nice. And in the bottom here is a sticker in case you want, and an instruction sheet. But beyond the instruction sheet, this guy, this company, Avalon King, also sent me out about 3 emails once the order was shipped. Each email kind of walks you through what to expect, If you have any questions, who to contact, what videos to watch to see some tutorials on how it all goes. So I've watched all that. I've done ceramic coatings for a number of years. I don't enjoy them, but I know how to do them. So I'm going to set you up. I'm going to prep this surface, and by prep the surface, I'm going to use something that we have on deck. This is Mother's CMX. It's a surface prep product. It just takes off some of the oil residues, any of the compound gunk that is left on there, so that we have a good adhesion between the ceramic or the fire glaze and the gel coat. So let me strip this off, and when I'll come back, we'll be ready to coat. Back. All right, I've stripped the surface using that weird chemical product by Mother's, the CMX. So if you want to get some of that, you can. You can also use isopropyl alcohol or window cleaner. Any good window cleaner will work. The very next step is I've applied a new pad, nice clean soft pad, to my random orbital polisher, centered that on the little backing plate, and I've taped off what's basically half of this section. Not entirely half, I admit, but it's a good general. The line's a little squiggly up here because I'm going between the snaps and stuff. But what I'm going to do now is apply the Fire Glaze Plus onto the surface on the left side. As soon as I'm done with that, we'll take this piece of tape off. I'll move it over about that long, and we'll apply a ceramic coating to the right side. So, very first thing I'm going to do, shake up my product, apply a little bit to the pad. Make sure I'm on a low speed setting, like the number 1. A couple little tappy taps. And I'm going to start working it in. Now, realistically, this stuff apparently, according to the manufacturer, bonds to gel coat the moment it touches it. That doesn't mean that you leave all this on the surface. You keep working it in until all those little nanoparticles find a way into the gel coat and seal it up. Trying to get right up on that edge so you see a nice crisp line. And the more you work this in, the better. But I generally don't go to the point where I cannot see it on the surface. I like to see a little remnant of it, and then I'll wipe that off with a clean, soft microfiber towel. Okay, right about now. So using a clean, soft microfiber towel, I'm just going to go over this, make sure that there's no residual product that didn't get buffed to a high gloss. Make sure to go around these snaps and inside this pinstripe, right up to the edge of all my tape. And it doesn't take all that much work. This is just wiping, and it's, man, it feels good. That feels really good. Okay, I'm going to put you on pause, move this piece of tape one section over, and then we're going to work on this. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got our Armor Shield 9. Got my little applicator. Now the manufacturer says to pour this on and saturate this rag. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Get it nice and wet, and then it says apply the product to the surface, nice and thick. So that's what I'll do. Oh yeah, that's thick. That looks wet. That's going to be a little tricky to get in and around these snaps, but I'll do my best. If I have to, I'll take the pad out of the applicator configuration, and I'll just use the rag itself on my finger. So there we go. There's our little ceramic coating. I might add a couple more drops just because that doesn't seem as saturated as I'd like it. And I'd like a little bit more product on the surface just to work with. So let's see if we can, there we go. That's a nice flat, thick surface. Okay, so all we have to do is cover this. I'm going to put you on pause. We'll drop down a little bit. And here we go. So the product says to let it sit until you start to see it flash. And flashing is basically where it's kind of looks iridescent, looks almost like an oil slick on the top of your paint or gel coat. So I'll be looking for that on the top. I'm not seeing it yet. And I'm using this kind of in a very small section, so it doesn't need to be something that I'm really freaked out about. In fact, most good ceramics shouldn't flash outside in 50-degree weather for, I don't know, a couple minutes. You should be allowed to have some working time. Okay, now I've covered this fairly well. Double check this, still hasn't flashed over yet. Just screwing myself up by reapplying. So I'm going to put this back in its little box so it doesn't get dirty, and cover this so the product doesn't evaporate. By the time I set this down, also you might notice I wasn't using the gloves, and the reason for that is I generally use the gloves when I'm taking off the product. If I was doing a larger section, I definitely would have put the gloves on. If I was doing a hood of a car or an entire car, definitely do the entire thing with gloves on. And the reason for that is once you've prepped your surface and gotten all the oils off, you want to maintain that so that the ceramic sticks to whatever it is that you're applying it to. If there's anything on that surface, you're going to have a really hard time making sure that that ceramic coating lasts for any length of time. So now that I've struggled to get my little gloves on, thankfully, because Avalon King provided them, I will take their, let's see, is it flashing yet? We're getting there. Hasn't quite hit yet. As soon as it does, though, I'll take their microfiber towel. Actually, you know what? I'll take my microfiber towel first, just because I have it. It's new, it's clean, and this is the first coating. I'm going to put one more coat on after this. On that coat, since it'll be the last one, that's the one where I will use the microfiber towel that they provided, because it is a really nice one. So I'm going to fold my towel up so that there are no edges on the outside. I don't know if you can see that. All the edges are folded up in the back. There we go. I'm starting to see up top a little bit of that iridescence, so I'm going to raise you up so you can see it. There you go. You can start to see it. It looks kind of weird on the surface. So I'm just going to start wiping this down, little circles. And you can see it smears a little bit, indicating that it still has a little wetness on the surface. So I think I'm catching it right about the time it needs to be caught. You don't want it to dry, and at the same time you don't want to try to take it off while it's thoroughly wet and hasn't had a chance to gas off and do all its stuff. So again, this is coating number one. We'll do one more coat after this. I'm going to drop you down just a smidge. And this side, you probably from that angle can't see too much, but I can. It's already starting, so I'm just going to start buffing this off. There we go. Looks nice. Very easy to buff off. Unlike Ceramic Pros Marine, if you guys have ever worked with that, that stuff's like pushing wet molasses, cold molasses, with toilet paper and trying to get a smooth surface. It's almost impossible. It's super expensive, and quite honestly, it doesn't last all that long on an older boat at all. Maybe a brand new boat, but definitely not an older one. Okay, I'm going to raise you up a little bit, and when I do, we'll come back over this with another coating. All right, so I've given this a couple minutes to sit in the sun and get a little tacked up. I'm going to apply a little bit more product to the applicator, and we'll go through the process again. One of the goals that everyone always talks about with the ceramic is that you make sure that you touch every single surface you can. You want to make sure that that shield, that defensive perimeter, if you will, stays solid. If there's a gap, dirt, particulate stuff, stains, that can all get in there underneath the surface preparation and ceramic coating that you put on. And that's how finishes fail. I'm going to drop you down just a sec, adding a little bit more product to the applicator, back and forth. Now on a ceramic, it is a good policy to go up and down and back and forth and to do a pattern, only because you absolutely want to make sure that the application of whatever you're using is uniform across the surface. If it's not uniform, you're going to see some weird reactions in your surface after a while. So if you're going to do a pattern ever on a boat, this would be the time to do it. when you're applying a ceramic coating. Okay? All right, this is now done for me. Luckily for me, Avalon King has provided a bunch of these little towels. I think there's about 4 or 5 in each kit, so that's plenty to do a boat. That's plenty to do a car. The only reason I'm throwing this away is because after I use it now, it's going to harden up and get all tacky and scratchy, so it's not going to do me any good. The applicator sponge, on the other hand, I can use that for either this ceramic or other ceramics, or just keep it as a memento for when you put a ceramic coating on your boat. So you guys can do something that you do quite often when you watch my videos. It's going to seem like this. You can actually watch paint dry. So instead of me buffing and talking and you getting bored for an hour and 20 minutes watching a boat get recovered, you can actually just sit here and watch paint dry. And it's not paint, I suppose, it's just a ceramic coating. But if I leave the camera here, you might fast forward it and see a little bit of a difference in the reflection. And that's kind of what a detailer has to look for. You have to look for the change in the surface. You have to look for the chemical reaction as the solution evaporates and leaves behind the particulate. In this case, this ceramic doesn't use titanium dioxide, they use silica dioxide. So if you look at all your fancy sprays coming out of McGuire's and Mother's and all that, and even now Griot's Garage, it's all SiO2. It's silica dioxide. So it's not as strong as a titanium dioxide, which is why Avalon King says that this will last 2 years. And they don't put much hype in it. They're not saying it's a bulletproof coating. They're saying it's just better than what's out there. It's easier to apply. It's definitely cheaper, and it's accessible. And I suppose that's the thing. A ceramic coating on a boat, even a 21-foot boat, can be $2,000-3,000 depending on the company that you use and the products that they use and the expectations that you have as the boat owner. This is $65, and if it only lasts 2 years, fine. Just reapply it every year, and you'll never have a problem, I think. But most people, most boaters, wait until their surface completely fails and then they try to recover it. Not always the answer. All right, I'm starting to see some little pinpricks of reflection, and those are little bubbles forming on the surface. That's telling me that most of the solution is starting to fade away. I could probably consider wiping this off, but as it's the last layer, what I want is for all those little particulate pieces of silica dioxide to find each other and lattice up, layer up, make a pattern on the surface so that they're strong. In the end, they put little hairs that stick straight up. So these little hairs that stick straight up, particles sit on top of them and just roll over the top. Water, hydrophobic action, it's because the water molecule is rolling over the top of these little microscopic hairs that stick up from the silica dioxide. Anyway, it's probably way more information than you need, whereas titanium dioxide lays down a little bit more flatter and forms more of a layering kind of, well, a literal lattice, a ladder, more so than silica dioxide. But they're both good products, and if you put a titanium dioxide coating on a car and then cover that with a silica dioxide, holy cow, that's some neat protection. All right, I've talked enough. Let's wipe this off. I'm going to use the Avalon King's microfiber towel because it's good, and they sent it to us and might as well use it, and I don't want to disrespect them. So I don't need to fold this in any particular way. I just want to cover my hand as much as I can. Nice and soft, my hand's covered, and then little circles. The softer your microfiber towel, the better your overall finish, I find. If you use something that's like from an auto parts store that says it's a microfiber towel, even if you use the Costco microfiber towels, the ones for like 36 of them for $16, they're good. You guys see that I use them all the time. It's just they're not the best. For the best, I found that if you go online and you can search detail companies, detail supply companies, or Alibaba.com, you can find some really nice plush microfiber towels that have a ton of potential. And again, we're using Avalon King's microfiber towel because it's very soft, very plush, and it has no borders, which is kind of rare. I didn't actually expect that. I can honestly say I appreciate that they included that and that somebody thought about that before I had to call them up and rage about it. You know I would. All right, guys, that's it. Now, if you wanted to maintain this surface, which I won't be doing anything to either this or this side, I promise you. If If you want to maintain the surface, you can apply one of those SiO2 top coats. You can just buy a bottle of it at the parts store and go to town. Just cover your boat and make sure that you maintain that coating. So there you go, guys. Left side, Restructure Marine's Fire Glaze Plus, which I think you know I love. On the right side, Avalon King's Ceramic Armor Shield 9. So let me take this tape off. We'll take one more look at it. Now here's something that I didn't expect, and I doubt you did either. I want you to imagine there's a line right there. You can actually see it up here. There's a little line right there, but you notice the color difference. The ceramic side is a little bit darker. It filled in the pores with a liquid, and then that liquid dried. So it's a little bit darker color than the Fire Glaze Plus side, which really doesn't have any oil to impart to the gel coat. All it's doing is departing little ball bearings all over the surface and filling in all the pores. But that's really interesting. Now on the white, I don't see the difference in color so much. Let's see if we notice a difference in reflection. So this is the Restructure Fire Glaze Plus side. Boop, the ceramic side. So there is a difference. Boop. They're both good. This side has a little blotchiness. That could be the result of just old gel coat absorbing it. And then this little swirl down here, this one here that goes up and down, that's my fault. I might actually be able to clean that up right now with a microfiber towel. So let me grab that and try. But it might have dried in there, and in which case that's my fault, and I should have been paying a little bit more attention. But I was working on a teeny little spot. There we go. Okay, so I caught it before it dried. That's good. But yeah, there's the difference. There's my favorite non-ceramic coating for anything, and here's the newest ceramic coating that I've experienced. I will let you guys help me watch this for the next couple months. Like I said, possibly a year, and we'll see what happens. But there you go. There's the result. There's the color difference. You can see it. I'm not making it up. I have no faith in either product to last more than a year. That being said, I hope they last longer than a year, and this will be really cool to see. So just remember, Bayliner. Now you know. Thanks for watching, guys. Sorry this is a short video, and I really didn't teach you anything about boats or doing anything on boats, except for, I don't know if you can see that cobalt way over there. No, that one. Yeah. So Herbert's working on that one. I'm gonna see what I can do on this one. We got another one back there that's just, oh my God. And then we got this big girl here. So I got my work cut out for me. I just wanted to show you something real quick. Thanks for hanging out. You guys have a good night or day or morning, whatever it is. Have a good one, and try to be good to other people, all right? Don't forget to subscribe. Check out this boat.